I think for me, I've been what I would consider to be like fully independent for pretty much my entire career, beyond having an agent look after my bookings, which came a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 years into my career. Apart from that, I've pretty much done everything myself. I've had like managers show interest quite a lot down the years, especially in the early days, you know, when you're kind of that new kid on the block that people are talking about, have got bits popping off in magazines and music's like hitting the you know, the BBC radio stations, that kind of thing. Then you're automatically going to get people kind of knocking the door, like wondering what's going on, where's your team, who's looking after this, who does that. And for me, I think the main reason that I never really felt like I needed it was through just like the longevity of being in the positions that I'd been in up to that point, where I'd worked in distribution for a year and a half, set up a record label. I went through college, did all that kind of stuff like music tech. So, you know, all of those things that managers can open doors for you to do, you know, getting you meetings at labels, getting you meetings with distributors, doing, you know, deals with sync companies, sponsorship bits here and there, magazine, press, all that kind of stuff. I'd already kind of experienced a lot of that and looked after a lot of my own, up to the point where people were knocking on my door seeing if there was an interest from them to come in and look after me management-wise. And then I looked at it and I was like, I'm not sure what they're going to do. Because for me, I think if you're going to pay someone like 15, 20% of everything that you earn, you need to see that they're going to make 15, 20%, 30% more than you're already doing on your own. And I think like for me, working in a very niche genre, or niche genres, if you like, I had all the contacts already that they needed. And I already had all those contacts. It was almost like I was going to be working doubly hard to pass over some of the responsibility for my own career. And I think like there's a bit of me that's a bit of a control freak as well. And I think the idea of going, hey, yeah, deal with all the emails, like that's fine. I can't not look at my emails and see what might or might not be coming in for me. I just always like to have a bit of control. And I think that one point where maybe artists who are a little bit less like me and, you know, really like, I'd put myself as an artist who's quite happy to do a lot of the work. Some artists just want to create. And I think that artists that really don't want to look at emails, be on social media, you know, like keep an eye on the accounts, all that kind of stuff that I've had to do to keep control of my own like affairs, if you like. I've definitely come across a lot of artists who hate that, and they're the ones that maybe would benefit from giving that to a manager. So I think it all boils down to what you're comfortable doing, but a lot of longevity in music comes down to enjoying and learning to love the process. If you don't get a kick out of, you know, seeing things maybe popping off for you on social media when your new release comes out, and all those little things that you have to make that happen for yourself. If you haven't got a team around you that's dealing with all of that, if you're doing that yourself, but if you get a little bit of a buzz out of that, you're probably going to be good managing your own affairs fully. And, you know, you'll benefit from that extra 15, 20% that someone else isn't just taking. But if you are like a proper studio bug who does not want to be on the end of emails, phone calls, you know, is really bad at turning up for their meetings and stuff like that, knowing what their schedule is. And trust me, there's thousands of artists out there like that are horrendous at getting on planes, answering the phone, turning up to meetings. So I think that there's like that, finding that balance for you. It's like how much of that time can you give and still enjoy and find time to be creative and do music? Or do you not want to do any of that? Are you someone that just has to be in the studio all the time? And then it's just finding that happy medium, finding someone that kind of like really kind of helps that work for you. And I think for me, it was just, I never felt like I could fully hand over that, you know, it's such a big responsibility to look after someone else's dreams, if you like. And I was so sure of where I wanted everything to head and how I wanted things to work that I was really comfortable just looking after it myself and quite happy to knuckle down and do all the boring work, because it is boring sometimes, but when it works, it feels just as good as having, you know, the success on stage, seeing your tracks in charts, you know, seeing bits pop off in the press, seeing social media buzzing about a release. I get a kick out of that. So that's a big part for me why I've been quite happy to stay independent.